Good morning, 8th standard. We are continuing further with the properties of squares and square roots. Let's write down. The next property that we have is, if n is a natural number, then n square equals to sum of first n odd numbers. To understand this, let's take an example. If I take n as 2, so 2 is a natural number, a counting number. I want to discuss about its square. So n square will be 2 square. And if I just replace the value of n here, I have taken it 2. So according to this property, n square equals to sum of first n replaced by 2, first 2 odd numbers. Now what are the first 2 odd numbers? This word is important. We will take the odd numbers from the first odd number. So the first odd number is 1. How many odd numbers I need to take? 2. So which is the next odd number? 1 and 3. And I want to write the sum. So that means this will be added. So the first 2 odd numbers are added together and their answer is 4, which is actually equal to the square of 2. 2 into 2 is 4. Let's take one more example. If n is 5, then n square means 5 square, and according to this property, this should be equal to sum of first 5 odd numbers. So the first 5 odd numbers, always start from the first odd number. So the first odd number is 1, the next is 3, then the next is 5, 7, 9. I need to write down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all of these are to be added. Now let us see if this is correct. 9 plus 7 is 16, 16 plus 5 is 21, 21 plus 3 is 24, 24 and 1 is 25, and the square of 5 is 25. So this is how we will use this property to do question number 7 and question number 8 of the exercise. This will be used in question 7 and question 8 of exercise 6.1. The next property that we have is, if we have 2 consecutive numbers. Consecutive numbers means the numbers which come one after the other in the counting. For example, 2 and 3, 11 and 12, 98 and 99. The numbers which come one after the another, and I have to take 2. You can take as many as you want, but for this property we need 2. So I am representing them as variables. If the first number is represented by n, the next one will be n plus 1, because counting increases by 1. If n is 2, n plus 1 will be 3. Then once I have 2 consecutive numbers, then to find how many numbers lie between their squares, if I square both the numbers, if I've taken 2 and 3, I square 2 and I square 3, the answer will be 4 and 9. How many numbers lie between their squares? So how many numbers lie between the square of 2 and the square of 3? That means 4 and 9. We use the formula 2n. So n actually represents the first number. I have to multiply it with 2 to obtain my answer. Let us see how this property is used by taking an example. For example, take 2 consecutive numbers. So you have to pick any 2 consecutive numbers. I am taking 5 and 6. I have taken 2 consecutive numbers, and then I need to talk about their squares. I am looking for the numbers between their squares. So the next step is to find out the squares of these numbers. So 5 square will be 5 into 5, 25, and 6 square will be 6 into 6, 36. Now what I want to find out is, I want to find out how many numbers are there between 25 and 36. So this is 5 square and 6 square. I want to find out how many numbers are there between the square of 5 and the square of 6. And I don't want to do the calculation. I want to find the answer directly. So if I had done it by actually calculating the squares and counting them, let us see how I would do it and whether this formula gives me the correct answer or not. So I want to find out how many numbers lie between 25 and 36. So between 25 and 36, and remember the first number is square of 5 and the second number is square of 6. So I will write down the counting: 25, 26, 27 up to 36. So if I write down all the numbers starting from 25 to 36, I want to know how many numbers lie between these two. So I want to know how many numbers are there. This will not be included, this will not be included, in between these two. So you have to exclude 25 and 36. So start from 26 up to 35. You can count on your fingers if you want, or there is a rule if you want to know how many numbers are there from 26 to 35. You have done this in junior classes. So what you do is you take the last number, subtract the first number, and then you add 1. So if I do that here, the last number, I have to begin from 26 and have to go up to 35. So 35 minus 26 and the answer plus 1 will give me how many numbers are there. Let us see, this is 9 plus 1 will be 10. So 10 numbers are there. If you want, you can count 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. From 26 up to 35. 5, 10 numbers. 10 numbers are there. And if I had to use the formula says 2 multiplied by n, and n here is this n is the smaller number. So I am working with 5 square and 6 square. This is your smaller number. So if I apply the formula, this will be 2 multiplied by 5. So answer will be 10, which is correct because we have verified using this or by actually writing them. Now the issue is, if the numbers are small, we can list or we can use this. But if the numbers are large, what if I had asked to find out how many numbers are there between the square of 555 and 556? So I have taken 2 consecutive numbers, the numbers which come in the counting one after the other. 555, the next number will be 556. If I calculate their squares, now this will take time calculating their squares, and then if I list them down, this will be very time consuming. Or if I apply this formula, this works. This is also easier than listing the numbers, but this is the shortest way to find out how many numbers will be there in between the answers of these two squares without actually calculating these squares. Let us see how we are going to use these properties in the exercise. Question number 7th of exercise 6.1, page number 96. without adding. Without adding means without actually adding. Find the sum. You have to find the answer for this expression. You could easily add these, but they are saying you don't have to add it. You have to use a shortcut. This will use the first property that we discussed today. If you look closely, what you observe here is these are odd numbers. All of these are odd numbers, and actually these are first 5 odd numbers. This is the first odd number, second odd, third odd number, fourth odd number, fifth odd number. So how many odd numbers do we have? First 5. This is important. First, you have to start from the first odd. So starting from the first, we have up to fifth odd number, not 5, fifth odd number. So first odd, second odd, third odd, fourth odd, fifth odd. And we know that the sum of first 5 odd numbers will be equal to square of 5. So the answer for this will be 5 square. You can write down sum of first 5 odd numbers is given by 5 square, which is 5 into 5 equals to 25. If you want, you can verify by adding, just to verify your answer. And you don't have to write all this. This is only for you to understand. In exam, you will write these steps. The expression tells you how many odd numbers are there, and we want to find their sum. So using the property, the first property that we discussed today, the sum of first 5 odd numbers will be equal to 5 square. That is 25. Let's do one more part. This is the second part of question number 7. Again, we have an expression where we have to calculate a sum. And if you look closely, again we have odd numbers. So this is sum of odd numbers. And how many odd numbers are there? Let's count. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. And we have started from 1. We started from the first odd number, and we have written 10 odd numbers. So this means I need to find out the sum of first 10 odd numbers. Once you have identified this, now you can give your answer. Sum of first 10 odd numbers. This will be given by 10 square. This will be 10 into 10 equals to 100. If you want, you can cross verify by adding these numbers. 19 plus 17 equals to 36. 36 plus 15 equals to 51. 51 plus 13 equals to 64. 64 plus 11, 75. 75 plus 9 is 84. 84 plus 7 is 91. 91 plus 5 is 96. 96 plus 3 is 99, and 99 and 1 makes 100. But we are not actually adding these, we are using the property. Third part you will do yourself. This will be homework. Question number 8, first part, express 49 as sum of 7 odd numbers. Again we are using the same property, sum of 7 odd numbers. Sum of 7 odd numbers, they have not used the word first here, but this is something we will remember on our own. Even if they don't write this, we will be using it. So what we will write is sum of first 7 odd numbers. This will be starting from the first odd number 1 plus second odd, third odd number is 5, fourth odd number 7, fifth odd number 9, 6th odd 11, 7th odd is 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 odd numbers. And this actually is equal to 7 square. The property that we used in 7th question, sum of first 7 odd numbers is given by this expression. If we actually write down the odd numbers and we add them, but if we apply the shortcut, then we know that the sum of first 7 odd numbers is given by square of 7, and this is equal to 49. So your answer becomes 49 equals to 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11 plus 13. Be very careful when they say sum of 7 odd numbers. You have to start from the first odd number and go up to the 7th odd number, not 7, 7th odd number. So you can write down the list of odd numbers and pick the first 7. Let's do the next part. Second part is express 121 as the sum of 11 odd numbers. Now 121 is a square number. How do we know it is a square number? Because 121 is obtained by squaring 11. And if we want to write down the square of a number using sum of odd numbers, what we can do is this will be equal to sum of, again we will use the word first 11 odd numbers. You have to start from the first odd number and write 11 odd numbers. So let's write down 11 odd numbers. 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've written 11 odd numbers and I will add these. And if you want to verify, your answer will be 121. Question number 9th is, how many numbers lie between squares of the following numbers? The first part is 12 and 13. Looking closely, 12 and 13 are consecutive numbers. This is important because the second property that we discussed today depends on this. The numbers must be consecutive numbers. In counting, they should come one after another. So 12 and 13 come together in the counting. So these are consecutive numbers. Second thing, we want to talk about the numbers that lie between squares of these two. So if I square 12 and if I square 13, 12 square will be 144, 13 square will be 169. I want to know how many numbers will be there between 144 and 169. And I do not want to do any sort of long work. I want to use a shortcut. So I will use the second property that I discussed. The answer will be given by double the smaller number, and the smaller number is 12. Let us see how we are going to write the answer. So what I need to find out is how many numbers lie between squares of 12 and 13. That is, how many numbers lie between 12 square and 13 square. So these are, you can note down for yourself, these two numbers, these are squares of, the word which is important here, consecutive numbers. You cannot use this property if the numbers are not consecutive. So if you have consecutive numbers and their squares, you need to find out how many numbers are there in between. The answer will be given by 2 into the smaller number. This will be 24. The next part is 25 and 26. So you have to find out how many numbers lie between the squares of these two. So between squares of 25 and 26, that is between 25 square and 26 square. Again, I will verify these are consecutive numbers. 25, 26 appear in the counting together. So I have squares of consecutive numbers, and the answer will be given by 2 into the smaller number. So 2 into the smaller number out of these is 25. It will be 50. You can verify if you want. 25 square is 625. 26 square is 676. And if we want to find out how many numbers are there between 625 and 676, that means from 626 to 675. So you have to count the numbers from 626 to 675, and the answer will be given by subtracting the two, obtain the answer and add 1. The answer will be 49 plus 1 equals to 50, which is the same as this one. We just obtained in one step. You will be doing the third part yourself. That will be your homework. Let us discuss an additional question. How many numbers lie between squares of 5 and 9? If you square 5 and you square 9, how many numbers will be there in between? How is this question different from the last question of exercise 6.1? These are not consecutive. In the counting, they do not come together. What do we do now? We don't have a formula for this. So, no shortcut. We will have to do a little work. And how we are going to do it? Let's see. We want to find out how many numbers lie between 5 square and 9 square. When we used the shortcut in 9th question, we applied a formula, 2 multiplied by smaller number. We cannot do that here. We cannot use 2 multiplied by smaller number. This does not work here. We will calculate the squares of these two. So this means I have to find the numbers between 5 into 5, 25, and 9 into 9, 81. So between 25 and 81. So 25, 26, 27 up to 79, 80, 81. If I write down all these numbers, I want to know how many numbers are there between 25 and 81. In between, we will not take these two. We will start from here and we will go to 80. So from 26 to 80, what I'm going to do is 80 minus 26 plus 1. Last number minus the first one plus 1. The answer plus 1. Subtracting, this comes out to be 54 plus 1 is 55. So there are 55 numbers from 26 to 80 between the squares of 5 and 9. You will try this yourself. The answer for this is 119. Calculate and do let me know. Along with this, what you have to do is you have to learn squares of numbers from 1 to 20. This is important because this will be used in further exercises. So this is important, learning up to 20. You should know what are the squares of all these numbers. You can learn after this also up to 30 maybe if you want, but till 20 you should learn the squares. The answers should be by heart for you. We will do exercise 6.2 the next time.